ready for adventure? We're Mo and Joy, lifelong friends who love to travel. Join us as we share our travel stories, enjoy delicious foods, and discover new friends. We'll share random thoughts, talk about life in the South, and the hilarious lessons we've learned along the way. We're not just sharing our experiences. We want to inspire you to get out there and explore. So buckle up. It's time to hit the road with Mo and Joy.
Cool.
Action. Look, we have a new guest. We have Lynn. Magic. So Lynn's been here listening the whole time, and we figured it might be a good idea to actually bring the parent in that we were talking about this whole time and get some of her perspective. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Very impromptu, right?
Right.
Definitely not planned.
No.
So yeah, mainly there's been such great conversation that I think we're gonna break this into two parts. I think that makes a lot of sense because you don't want to go too far on the podcast. So why not have the actual parent perspective? And Lynn, you had the opportunity yourself, as we were discussing earlier, to be an exchange student. So could you tell us a little bit about your memories being with a host family and kind of how that came about and how that kind of influenced your travels?
And not that we're trying to age you, but how many years ago was that?
Joy.
That is not cool. You do not have to answer
it was
that.
a lifetime
1 million
ago.
years ago.
Yes.
Oh, rude.
Not rude. It was a lifetime ago.
Oh.
So I was 18.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe 19, 18 or 19 when I was there. So really the way it worked out for me was in high school, unlike Lauren took Spanish from middle school to high school. I took French.
Yeah.
And the only reason I took French was because my older sister did.
Oh.
And I thought it sounded fancy. So I took 4 years of French in high school. And when I got to college, two things. One, back then you had to have a foreign language requirement. And so I was required to take a language. And then secondarily, because it was relatively an easy A for me, I took a lot of French because it helped my GPA.
Subtle flex.
Yeah, yes. And
Practicality.
So, exactly. The things that matter. And I got to know the French department heads because they were also instructors, professors. And after class one day, the male department lead, and it was a husband and wife actually, that managed the department. She was French, he was American. Monsieur Raj was his name. He pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, I've noticed that you've taken quite a bit of French." He said, "We are taking a group of students over to study in Tours, which is about 2.5 hours southwest of Paris. We would love for you to join our program. What do you think?" And I said, "That sounds fascinating." And so I grew up in a very blue-collar town. My parents did not go to college. And so I took the proposal home to my parents. Yeah. My mother was absolutely against it. And surprisingly for me, my dad was very pro the experience. And so my father actually talked my mom into letting me go.
Yeah.
And much like Lauren's program, it's your standard tuition price plus a little extra to cover the abroad expenses. And of course you have to pay for your own flights and if you do personal travel while you were there. And luckily for me, my parents let me go. What's really funny in retrospect, unlike me waiting for Lauren's calls, my mom, and back then we had to use a calling card. I don't know if you guys remember calling cards.
I do remember that.
Right? So we did not have cell phones. The family that I lived with had on the corner of their street was a payphone, and I'd actually have to go in and insert the calling card or use the numbers on the back to dial the numbers in order to get through. But my mom was so scared about me being so far away that she really didn't even want to take my calls because it made her too nervous to know where I was and what I was doing. So, so that was a little disappointing for me. But, you know, as a mom, looking back, I also
understand it.
Well, I do and I don't, because I couldn't wait for Lauren to call. But I think it's only because I had already had that experience.
Right.
So,
do you think having that experience really helped you as a mom to support her going?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Because that experience for me was life-changing. And it started a love affair for me with not only travel, but also with...
Careful now.
It's true. It ignited a passion. How about putting it that way?
Yeah.
Not only for travel,
words.
but to learn other cultures, to immerse oneself in another culture, talk to locals no matter where you are.
Yes.
And I think it also, from a France perspective, anyone that knows me knows that I love all things French, and that's where it ignited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you kind of remember, I'm going to ask you a couple of the same questions that I asked Lolo.
Yeah.
That semester that you were abroad, when you first went, do you think that the experience was too long, too short, or just enough?
I would have stayed longer.
Okay, so you did not struggle with homesickness.
Not one iota.
Okay.
No. And part of it is maybe coming from a big family, right? And I just looked at it as an adventure. And I knew I would go back at some point, but unfortunately, money was an obstacle for me in my experience. So I ended up having to go home a couple weeks after the program. Not quite, maybe a month after the program. But I would have loved to have spent the whole summer there.
Yeah.
You know, I could have lived there.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
That's one way that we were different. It's because I've been so blessed in my life to just have been able to travel because my parents do, especially my mom. Like, she loves to travel, like she said, everywhere. And since me, again, being an only child, I've been so blessed that they're just like, okay, well, we're not going to pay for a babysitter to watch her the whole time. It's going to be about the same price to put her in a backpack and bring her with us. And so I've been really blessed with that. And just the fact that my life is a lot different growing up than my mom's. And so I think that's why I struggled so much with the homesickness compared to her, because she was like, this is absolutely like amazing. And I just am so blessed, and I know it. And I'm very grateful.
Aw.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way because, you know, I got the travel bug from my grandma, and, you know, I got to have some of those experiences, and I definitely feel that she kind of gave me that love for adventure and travel and to go out and see. And I've always found it very interesting that there are, you know, people's responses to, you know, how they feel about travel. You know, even for some people, it's a matter of, am I even willing to leave my home in general? You know, are you a super homebody? You know, are there things that make you excited to get out and go do and go see? And I would say the four of us here, I think, all feel the exact same way about those things. And I don't remember the details, but wasn't there some turmoil going on internationally when you went to study abroad?
So
I felt like you had mentioned something about that.
I wouldn't say turmoil per se. I think France was the first time I had been in a situation of a massive cultural protest.
Okay.
So we were in Paris, the greater program, and I had never seen a protest in a city before. Coming from the Midwest, right? And certainly not anything like a city of New York, Atlanta, Chicago, anything like that. So being in the heart of Paris and seeing a full-on protest with thousands upon thousands of people marching through the streets was very eye-opening for me. And I don't even remember what they were protesting about at the time. This was around the time of the Gulf War. maybe right before the Gulf War. And so I don't know if it was something politically related to things happening in the Middle East, or perhaps, that France had a heavy influx of immigrants coming from Africa in different countries. If it was surrounding that, I don't really recall. But what was really interesting to me was the peaceful way in which the people protested. They actually had to get a permit from the government, and the police were everywhere, and they carried, I don't know what kind of gun it was, a huge military gun, whether it was an AK-47 or whatever, I don't know. Not a gun person, but seeing them with rifles or these
Right.
militant heavy-duty guns was very intimidating.
Sure.
And everything was under control. So there was no one burning things down or destroying property or anything like that. But it was still overwhelming as, an 18, 19-year-old from the Midwest.
That is a really interesting point that you brought up. That reminds me, a lot of countries in Europe, at least now when I went, their police officers or it's like military, they are always strapped with like huge guns everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere. And it's like
On the trains.
in the train
station.
station, everywhere. And it was just something that I'd never really seen before. And it would be scary at first. Well, it was scary at first. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then I asked one, I forget exactly where I was. I was in a train station. I was like, why is this a thing? Like, I'm from America. Like, we don't have that. And he's just like, oh, this is just my job. Just in case something were to happen, we're here to help protect everyone. So then I felt safe seeing these people, because I'm like, if something crazy did happen, these people would be able to put a stop to it.
Yeah, and it was really funny because the host family that I was with had kids about my age and a little bit younger, and they honestly thought that you could go into the grocery store and buy a gun off the shelf. And it was so comical to me. I'm like, you can't do that at all. That's not how it works. You don't buy your chicken breast and your cereal and then pick a gun off the shelf.
Right.
But that was their concept of America, which was
Interesting.
very interesting.
So host family, was it difficult to get comfortable? And what would you say about your experience being with a host family as a foreign exchange student?
I did not have the best experience.
Okay.
And
Didn't expect that.
yeah, I had, there were probably 30 kids in our program,
Okay.
and some of them really lucked out with some really cool families. Unfortunately, myself and two other girls, we lived with this host family in their basement that they had redone with 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, and we had our own entrance. They were not really interested in mingling with us.
Oh,
They were paid a stipend for us to live with them, and they were doing it more from an income perspective than really caring to immerse 3 Americans in their culture. So we, from time to time, did have the opportunity to eat with them dinner. The father of the family really seemed to like us and would engage us in conversation. The mother, very, almost resentful that we were there. She was not
with
fun.
your young skin and your
Yes.
tight ass.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Sorry. No, she was very. It was Joy. It was almost like she was resentful that maybe resentful that she had to do this to make some income. I don't know, but
that's too bad.
It was, because I was envious of other kids in our program because their families would take them off to amazing beach towns or on these amazing experiences, or invite them with their greater extended family Sunday dinners. But we didn't have that at all. So that was kind of a bummer.
So I think that's important to kind of point out then. Here are 2 different women, 2 different places and times, 2 very different experiences. One on a college campus, one with a host family. And, you know, not everything, I think this is probably really important to call out. Not everything may be perfect, so to speak, on the trip. But at the end of the day, this is actually the first time I remember actually hearing that. The real point is the experience is what you make it. And while not everything may be as rosy as you would like it to be, it's the totality of the experience and being away and being able to participate in that I think really stands out.
For sure. And the saving grace for us was that our program, the male and female that ran our program, the married couple, did a really great job. Every weekend we went on excursions. And maybe once a month we had a free weekend where we could do our own travel. But they took us all over France. They arranged everything. It was part of the lump sum that we paid for the program. So really, it didn't really matter because we weren't with the family a whole lot. It's just, in retrospect, how cool would it have been to really bonded with them and been able to keep up with them over the years, which, you know, some people in the program did have that experience. But again, we were so busy, we did not let it interfere with our overall experience.
Did you have any type of measures that you put in place that you can recall for safety?
I think the biggest thing was we never traveled outside of our little town alone. We always had a buddy system very much. We would walk back and forth.
Your daughter's smiling at that.
Yeah, we did. And really the thing back then was more about pickpockets than anything else. And so, you know, we had pouches that we would keep our money and our passports in, and you would put them under your clothes, tuck them into your pants.
Fanny pack.
Yeah. Not quite a fanny pack. It was a flat pouch, and you could put it like through your shirt.
Lauren doesn't even get why that's a funny comment. She's like, what?
It went over my head.
She knows it as a bum bag.
A bum bag. No, you know it as a bum bag, Miss Bum Bag McGee.
That's the embarrassing old school term. I can remember. We're not even going there. Anyway, okay. Let's switch over to now you're the parent, obviously, and your daughter was heading over to do a lot more time overseas than what you had done, and a completely different time and age. Talk to some of the other parents that are out there listening, and, you know, I know it was very hard for you and John to see her go, and you had the worries and you had the fears, but what type of advice do you have for parents listening in who possibly have never been abroad or had those opportunities? What are the things that helped you guys support her in this opportunity?
I think the first thing is going in smart, right? So understanding where your child is going and what the geopolitical climate is. So that was one of the things we really wanted to understand. If she were going to a place that was a little bit more in political upheaval, I think we would have been more worried and upset. The thing that mitigated that was the university. The university has such a tight program, and because they have feet on the ground 24/7, 365, they monitor those types of things very closely. And where Lauren lived, they had such tight security within the dorm. For example, when I went over to visit her, I couldn't even go into her dorm because weeks ahead of time, she had to have set up, filled out forms and whatnot for me to have security to go through. So understanding what the university offers in terms of security was paramount for us.
Can I pause you there? That I never even stopped to think about that. Can you share a little bit about what it looked like for you to get in and out of the building versus your room. So I didn't even really think about that type of thing. What did the security look like on a day-to-day real life?
Yeah, it was super, super safe. So during the day, it was a little bit different than when it was in the middle of the night and we're coming home from the bars. During the day, when we're going to classes, because it's a couple different buildings where our classes were at, so we'd obviously have to walk in and out. And I lived in the main campus building. Okay. We called it Garnet. I lived on the top floor, Garnet 9. It's the best apartment you could have gotten. Like, honestly, I really lucked out. But I had an ID that would scan, and it had my face on it and my name and then my student number. And the doors during the day would be open, and we'd walk in, you say, hey, what's up to the security person. They'll like know you after the first week. They're like, hey, Lauren. And then you have to scan your ID to even get past the glass to go up to where our stairs are or to where our elevator is. Okay. So then I'd scan my ID, and I open the glass door, and then I would go up to my elevator, and then I would have to scan my my door to get into my actual apartment, where I would walk in, and then my door was right in the front to my bedroom, and then the rest we had our kitchen and whatnot. And then I would have to scan my ID again to get into my bedroom door.
Okay, so let's pause here for a second. So parents, I think it'd be really important to know what are the specific security measures. You just heard in great detail what Lolo's describing. That would be, I know for me, a top thing, the safety. There's a lot of checkpoints that are there. And it sounded like pro tip for the students, if you're considering this area with Florida State, it sounds like if you can get into Garnet 9, that would be like the great place to be. So I'm just saying, you're welcome.
And Lauren, how many kids lived in your apartment?
So I shared a room with one other girl, and then, oh gosh, let me count. So it was me, her.
Nice grammar.
Gosh, that was terrible grammar. But there was, I think, 8 of us living in there.
We're doing a grammar check.
Yeah.
That's like Google Check Live while we're doing our normal podcast.
Yeah. So how many rooms in the apartment? Bedrooms?
4 or 5? There was 3 that the girl. So there was 3 upstairs, and then there was 2 downstairs. So
okay,
there was
5 bedrooms, each with at least 2 people in a room.
So 4 of them had 2 people. One of them only had 1 girl, and she got like the whole room to herself, and she was super lucky. But
but it was a mix of boys and girls.
Yes.
So that's something to know as well.
It is co-ed.
While they don't put a boy and a girl in the same room together,
or share a bathroom together.
Right, but it is boys and girls, which isn't much different than college campuses today, right?
But those are important things to actually consider. I think the safety, I'm glad we got in a little bit more of that detail and all of the, checkpoints, so to speak, to get where you need to be. And, the more checkpoints that there are, the more difficult it is for someone to successfully breach that.
Yep.
Right.
I'd like to note out too, in the middle of the night when everybody is coming home from going out, the big main doors that are ginormous would be completely deadbolted and locked, and you would have to ring the doorbell or knock, which we'd ring the doorbell to try to buzz us in, and it would be our security person who's there 24/7. He or she would look at us in the camera, see if we're actually one of their students, and then they'll come to the door. They won't open the door or even come to the door if it's a random person. Like I said, they get to know us literally within the first week. They know me for my first and last name. They know my student number off the rip, like off the top of their head. And so then it's like, whatever time I'm getting home in the morning, I knock on the door and I'm like, oh, hey, like I'm home. And they're like, okay, get in, Lauren. I go to bed, drink water, like you're good. But it was super safe. And then again, I'd have to go through all of the scans anyway, still with those big doors being locked as well.
Well, and that's one thing as a parent I'd like to comment on, because Lauren's making fun and actually saying we were out all night and coming in the morning. Listen, that's very much the European lifestyle.
Right.
The Spanish.
They don't start till 9.
Right. Start till 9. They may
Way
not
later.
eat dinner until 11. And then if they're going out cocktailing or whatever. So it's very, very common in their culture to be out until 4 a.m. So that's one thing I would say to a parent, don't chastise your child for immersing in the culture like that, because that's what the locals do.
Yeah. I think that's really important. So the first thing I was thinking when you said that is that why there's siesta? And is the siesta still as prominent as what it once was?
That's a great question.
It depends. It really does depend on if it's like a little like shop down the street, they'll have a siesta. They'll just like close it up for like an hour or so. But then like they have regular like corporate jobs too, which they don't take siestas. But I will say around like kind of the evening afternoon time, no matter what, you could walk down all the cafes and bars and whatnot, and people are out there all of the time, like having wine and chatting, and there's music going. Like it is so lively during that little break time, and then they all go back to work at some point. Like it really is, it is a thing, and it is so much fun, and it is so cool. And it's not really a siesta to go nap, but it's like a siesta to just take a break within your day and just like, exactly. And it's just to catch up with your friends, catch up with your family. If you need a doctor's appointment or something, you throw it in during that time. If your doctor's appointment, or if your doctor's is open. Like I know my teacher who is a doctor, he's like, no, I totally am not open during that time. I'm doing my own thing. And but it really just depends. And then sometimes siestas are a little bit different on different days. Like the shop down the street will take a siesta one day at this time, and they'll take it another. It's just whatever they feel like. It just depends on the business.
Well, and Valencia is very much a tourist location.
It is,
So in the more touristy places, you won't find the siesta as much
at all
as you would in a smaller town.
Okay. Well, I think, Joy, that it was really important. That's probably something that I would not have necessarily known, that dinner's at 11 and it's normal for people to be out. I'm not a late night person myself.
I can't do it.
And it's like, I know that even for myself today, which no snickering from the one side, but it's like, my own son, who's just a couple years younger than you, Lolo, and, the boys are always out doing this, and this. And I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh. It's always something. But yes, I mean, if your child has the opportunity to go study abroad, then I feel that they should certainly have the safe opportunity to enjoy all that it has to offer. You wouldn't want to necessarily, like, even if it were me, I would feel the need to push myself to get out and do more. And I remember, when we went to Ireland, that was already your second time going. And I still had some of the stories of things that you had done your first trip. And I was kind of like, oh my gosh, whatever. But when you're there and you're in the smaller towns, life is very different than what we're used to here. And, Joy and I have discussed many times that in a lot of ways, and I hate to say it, I love my country. I'm American. I'm all about it. But there are just certain things about lifestyle and the hustle bustle and not enjoying life, and especially the issue with our food. We just don't have it right. And I think those are definitely things that all of us here sitting at the table have been able to experience for ourselves.
Right. And try to go back to and remind ourselves of and try to implement them back into our daily life.
Which, just like everyone else, you get back into life.
Right.
And everything just
and you forget everything. And that's why you need a travel journal.
It is.
Right. And why you need to book your next travel.
Right. And that.
By the way, do you guys have your journals for purchase on your site? If not, you should.
Well, we
will
soon,
or we do. I don't know.
Yeah, we've been playing with that. But when Joy was on her last couple trips, I actually had her take the little promos that she had made for us, and we've had a couple clips of where's my journal.
Yes.
And it's kind of scattered about. So yeah, that's been kind of fun. But there's so much value in the written word, and sadly a lot of technology today has gotten us away from that. But for me, and I know especially for you, Lynn, there's just something very special about pen to paper.
Well, and when you see your handwriting, when I look back to my handwriting as an 18 or 19-year-old, it's different than what my handwriting is as a 50-something-year-old. Emphasis on the something.
The something.
Yeah. So, and upon sight of it, it takes me right back there. And so,
yes.
Cool.
I am completely on board with your promoting having a travel journal. And I think you guys should also throw in T-shirts, hats, and tote bags.
Oh,
Just saying.
I'm starting to feel challenged.
Merch.
Yes, I don't know. Joy, she's kind of like...
Coming soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I am actually really excited that we got in. Thank you for agreeing. Super impromptu, but we need to finish up the last part of this interview, which is going to be focused on travel. So, Lynn, if you'd like to just hang here with us.
Yeah, pipe up.
Yeah, and if you want to pipe in anything, because actually at the very end, it kind of ties into your interview that you did last December, because when Lolo's experience ended, you guys were able to meet up, and then you went on the Christmas market cruise together.
Yeah.
And
Great episode, by the way.
right,
Good
and
listen.
what a fantastic way to wrap up study abroad. So, Joy, get us going with travel.
So you had 14 countries.
Yes.
Can you share which ones those are?
I will. Let me
Oh,
pull
look,
up.
she's got to look
I
at
have
it
to
because
look
she
at my
doesn't have it
list.
memorized.
I know I don't have. I know I don't have it
I
memorized.
don't have Ireland
It's
memorized
hard.
either. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Okay. So I went to Spain, France, Italy, the Vatican, Monaco, Germany, France, Austria, Hungary, England, Denmark, Morocco, Ireland, and the Czech Republic.
That's a lot.
I'm like already having wanderlust.
Did you know that you were going to be visiting all those? No.
Not at
Remember,
all.
she didn't do the pre-planning.
I didn't
She took a
pre-plan.
little time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe that you actually didn't have a short list of the must places I'm going to visit.
Yeah, no, I should have. That's just something that
Well, it's cool to freestyle too, but
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I am too. I don't know why I didn't even think about it. I was like, okay, I'll figure it out when I get there. It's no
that's
big
fine.
deal.
Well, the one thing I want to add is yes, she visited a lot of countries, but once you're over there, it is so much
So
easier
easy.
to travel and cheaper.
So cheap.
So buying a flight from Valencia to Paris is a lot less expensive than what we would even fly here in the States.
I think my flight from Valencia to Paris was €80
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
for there and back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you're there, it's very economical to travel. And then, of course, their trains run like clockwork and are very reliable. And it's also a great way to travel. So,
Yeah.
because she only had school 3 days a week. And I'm just hearing now that she may not have attended all those classes.
You knew.
But every weekend she had a long weekend. Their program had a little bit of organized travel, not nearly as much as mine did. So she was able to take these personal trips every weekend, which is pretty exciting.
So jealous.
really cool.
Yeah, I was too, believe me.
And how did you do it? You rolled the dice, or was it somebody else's turn to pick this week, or what went into it? Or is it because that was the cheapest flight that week? Or
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That's a good criteria.
Yeah,
What's the best value?
I would look at, so I used Google Flights like a maniac because that's where you could find, because it would filter out through everything.
I've heard
online.
people talking about
Yeah.
using the Google
Never
Flight
used it.
stuff.
You should
Me
use
neither.
it. Even in the US, it's super helpful.
Pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip, Google Flights.
Having it.
Yeah, I had to, I would just look up all the places that I thought would be really cool to visit, and I would compare prices each week pretty much of what I could afford, because I did make a budget while I was there, because I was really blessed with my parents paying for my tuition, but once I got over there, I was like, if you pay for my tuition, I will pay for my travel and everything else myself from what I saved up from my internship.
Yeah.
And I kind of delegated money to each week of what I could and couldn't do, and I had built a spreadsheet on Excel for that, and I had all kinds of formulas in there and whatnot.
Accounting classes.
Yes, I know. It was useful. It actually was useful. No matter how much I hated it, I learned something. And
Your mom's impressed.
Well, what Mom's thinking is, if you
Why
did
am I not
such a
doing
great
this now?
job of that in Europe, why can't you do that here?
See, this is the downside to having
Yes.
mom beside you.
We've had this conversation.
It's because I have no money. So
Yes.
how am I supposed to
Not
budget
yet.
with no money? I know, not
feel
yet.
I live this conversation. I live this
Exactly.
Mom and
conversation.
dads know. They know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But real quick, I mean, keywords, and Joy, I saw your eyes perk right up too. I think it's important, and I think it's also the responsible thing. Students, you should have some sort of a budget. You should have some sort of responsibility to plan out and spend your money wisely, or, you know, if it's some of your parents' money, you still need to spend it wisely.
Right.
And, you know, I know for me, it took me many years of different travel. Not that I didn't watch, but it probably wasn't until the 10-day, our first real road trip that we did, that I officially started tracking and whatnot. And it really taught me a lot about where your money should be targeted at and where the different buckets are. I know when we travel, I'm not sure about all the rest of you, but we tend to be more liberal with our money when we're on the road because, you know, it's just kind of nice to do that. We don't necessarily do that here, but please do budget and try to utilize some of these tips and tools because it will help you in the future.
So one more pro tip that I'll add to that is you never know when you'll have an experience like that again.
Correct.
So one of the things that I told Lauren is make sure you buy yourself at least one thing that's special while you're there.
Yes.
Whether it's a piece of pottery or a piece of art or
Jewelry, my ring.
Yeah.
From Ireland.
yeah,
that what it was?
she bought a Claddagh ring in Ireland or a little change purse in Italy or something like that. Buy yourself something that will remind you of your trip.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And art is a really cool thing to buy because there's so many street artists there that it's
So talented.
so talented and so easy to bring home that will bring you joy for years to come. So every time she looks at her ring, she thinks about her trip to Ireland. Or every time she uses the change purse, she thinks about her time in Italy. So I think it's important to build that in as well, something that will last for
Forever.
years and remind you of that experience.
Joy, that's,
Good advice.
Yeah.
you do that.
Yeah,
You're good
splurge
about
a couple
that.
of times and
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
And when you are budgeting out some for your weekly budget, what I would do is like if I wasn't taking a trip that weekend, I would not spend any of that money and I'd have that money roll over to my next big trip.
There you go.
Very good.
So then I'd have extra money because some places are way more expensive. Like when I went to Copenhagen and London in the same weekend.
Yes, pricey.
Yeah, that burned a big fat hole in my pocket. But since I didn't do anything for 2 weeks leading up to that, I had 2 weeks of budget for Copenhagen and London because I knew how much more expensive than other countries that trip would be.
Yeah. And if you're about the experiences and not so much about having something stuff that's special, you know, use those funds to do something more special. Take a special tour, do some sort of local food class, some experience that you could then journal about that will remind you of the time that you spent in that culture. So,
But if you do like stuff and you are in Italy, get Italian leather. Italian leather purses. I kick myself in the butt every day for not getting an Italian leather purse that you could then like get your name like stamped into. I need to go back, I guess, so that I can get one.
Have to.
put it on the list.
Right?
So, what country stood out for you of all the 14 countries that you talked about?
That is like actually the hardest question to ever ask anybody
You're
who
welcome.
studies abroad. Like, thank you. It's just
We
because
actually talked about that on the way here, Joy.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's just because you have such different experiences everywhere.
Yeah.
But one place that really, really surprised me was when I went to Budapest.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was not expecting it to be what it was. It is very historical. I mean, I'm kind of a nerd, so I went to all the museums and I read all the stuff and I read up on my history. If I went to a place and somebody was like, oh, this was from something, and then I would like look up what event happened there and I'd learn about it and read, because that's just like another fun fact to know, I guess, and I just was interested in it. Budapest had a ton of history, and not only that, it was beautiful and so clean, and everybody was super friendly, and I just was very, like, I never saw trash on the ground. It was crazy, and I was very shocked. And then, of course, I have to say my other, like, super big trip that it stands out on top of, like, anything I've ever done in my life probably was Morocco. Camping in the desert.
Did you ride a camel?
I did ride a camel.
Yes, Grandma Betty rode a camel in Morocco. So I always want to know.
Yes.
Did you ride a camel?
I rode a camel. It was so much fun. My butt actually hurt for like a day after.
Probably.
They are not comfortable at all.
Do they smell?
So bad. I smelled for days because I probably would have gotten gross. They did have showers and stuff. I did camp in a clay hut and a teepee. Because we like changed locations, yeah.
Which one was better?
Low-key, like the teepee, the tent, yeah. Okay. Was way better than the clay hut. Because the clay hut just had bugs, it was dirty. It was gross. Ooh. And we did have bathrooms that we could have showered and like to use the restroom. Yeah. I felt like I was going to be dirtier if I took a shower in there. So I just like stayed stinky while I was there. I really did. I stayed stinky for 3 days while I camped in the desert.
Pro tip. Stay
stinky. Yes.
Did you happen to pack like any wipes with you or anything?
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay.
I packed wipes.
I figured that you did because I know this is totally random, but when Alex goes and does like hurricane storm work, he always...
I thought she was going down a way different path. Right. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Relax. No, that's one of the staples that they, especially in the beginning, that they would pack was wipes. In the event that a particular area was rough, they could at least like wipe down. Right. And so it's just kind of not something that you would necessarily think of. So that was a win, I think.
Yeah, I always had, I had that backpack that you can like fill up with as much stuff as humanly could. I just had wet wipes in there just from who knows what, but it was really useful. I didn't even like think to pack them. I just got lucky. So I did have wet wipes, but not on purpose.
Right.
Lauren, that's a pro tip though about your backpack. Talk about your backpack.
Oh, my backpack. I really don't know exactly what it's called, but it's a travel backpack, and it has 1 million compartments, and it is what I brought on every single one of my trips so that I didn't have to check a bag, because that made that would make your flight ridiculously expensive.
Send the link to where you got
I could send
it
you guys the link.
I was going to say, send a picture in the link. Was it expensive?
No, not too bad. Maybe max $30?
Yeah,
nothing crazy.
Pro tip.
Yeah, and I brought it literally everywhere, and I packed my entire life into that backpack for a week or so. And then it had like a pouch on the bottom. I could shove all of my shoes up in the bottom pouch, and then I could fit my laptop in there if I needed to do stuff. And then I could also fit all of my clothes and all of my toiletries and hair tools, and everything would fit in that one backpack. It would be really heavy, and it hurt my shoulders to carry it, but it was way better than having to pay for a luggage or to just like drag it around with you, because that's a hassle. And it was the right size, because planes in Europe are a lot more strict for the size carry-on that you can bring. We can bring a lot more stuff onto a carry-on in the US than you can in Europe, and they will pretty much just be like, yeah, you got to figure it out. You got to get a new bag, something. They just like
good luck with
that. They will not let it on the plane if it's too big.
That's important to know. So for those who aren't familiar, be sure that you have sufficiently tested your carry-on bag, because it is different than America. You heard it here confirmed, and it is not pleasant. If any of you have ever been stuck in a situation where you've exceeded a weight limit or whatever, it's just not pretty. Not that I've necessarily ever had to deal with that. Only once, but it was enough. Like, I'm like, never again.
That's right.
So as far as like your navigation, you did planes, trains. Mm-hmm. What else? What other modes of transportation did you use? Or
to travel between countries, just those two.
Just those two.
So no like water taxis, ferries,
e-bikes, rickshaws.
Yes. Walking. I walked everywhere. I did use ATVs. I did ATV as well in the desert. I mean, to get from country to country, it was mostly planes and trains.
Okay.
To get from different places within the cities or wherever I was at, I used taxi. I would use Uber. I did use a scooter one time, and it was not a pretty sight. I probably shouldn't have been on the scooter with the state I was in, but it's okay. I put it back down, and I just continued walking. I would foot it everywhere I would walk. I did take some ferries and ferry water shuttles depending on the country I was at and where I was in. In Copenhagen, I took a ferry across from one part of Copenhagen to another part and went ice skating. Actually, it was like a cute little Christmas town. It was
nice.
fun. Yeah,
That's cute.
yeah, it was a ton of fun. But yeah, pretty much anything that you can think of. Subways. I did it all. I did it all. Buses. I bussed all of the time in Valencia, especially. I got pretty good at learning how to bus, which was fun. And I got off on the wrong stop a couple of times, and then it was okay because then I just looked around wherever I was at, and I was like, oh, this is cool too. This will work. Learn somewhere new.
So, are there any good hacks or tools or?
Yes.
Okay. What?
Sorry, I have this app actually for trains specifically called Omio, O-M-I-O, and I can also send you guys the link to that app.
Okay.
That's for trains. It finds you the best train prices for wherever you want to go, and it helps you plan it out to match up with your flight schedule if you're leaving from the airport, and just kind of to buy all those tickets ahead of time so that you don't have to worry about it later.
That was pretty broad European.
It just,
right?
all of Europe, yep. And then what I used a lot actually was Google Maps. Google Maps has all of the train times that you could find. And then that one was mostly, Google Maps was mostly for trains, but anywhere in Europe, they had a ton of train times. And then I would, of course, look with my Omio tickets to see if those lined up. And then, of course, like when I was actually in the train station, I'd make sure everything was all aligned. I took that super seriously, especially if I was traveling to another city, because I didn't want to get on the wrong train and end up somewhere completely where I just didn't want to be.
Right.
I think you also used Google Maps in walking.
Oh, yeah.
Within cities.
Within cities and walking, yeah. That's super helpful as well, because obviously I had no idea where I was going anywhere.
Right.
So Google Maps was my best friend ever. And then, make sure, this is another tip, to bring a portable charger with you everywhere.
So, is there a language that you wish you would have had in addition to Spanish or anything, or what are your thoughts on that?
No, not any addition to Spanish or English. I did love the fact that I did know my Spanish, or at least the little bit that I knew, because it made it helpful, because it is a Romance language, and most of those European countries speak Romance languages.
Romance language.
Yes, it's so beautiful.
French, Italian,
yes.
Spanish.
All of them, and they're all very similar, so it's like you can kind of get by. Like when I would speak Spanish to Italians when I went to Italy.
I had that experience as well.
Yeah.
And it is helpful, although it's still different.
It's very different, but everybody speaks English in Europe. That is like that. They are born, they learn their native language, and then they learn English like immediately after.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they just want you to really try. So if you learn greetings or like please and thank you whenever you go somewhere within their language, and you can look that up on the Uber ride, like to your hotel room if you want.
Practice Babel.
Exactly. Duolingo.
Vecchia.
Exactly.
That's like my buzzword. I have like practiced. Y'all, I'm not lying. Like the word is literally like this long. When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, how am I ever going to say
How do I get
this
those
word
words out of my mouth?
Yes. Well, I will say, and I'm sure, like Lynn said, a lifetime ago. But when I went to Italy all those years ago, the English was not as common at all, and we rarely came across anyone, even while we were in Venice, in a more touristy city, that spoke English. So I would say it was a little bit more challenging back then for me.
And I really want to dispel a myth, because a lot of people, and I usually hear this more with regards to France than other countries, like, oh, the French hate Americans. No, they really don't. It's just like if someone comes to the United States and they don't try to speak English, it's the same thing. The French, they're very nationalistic, have a lot of nationalistic pride, right? So if you go and you learn to say bonjour or merci or, a pleasantry, it goes a long way. Yeah.
Right. That's what Alex always loves to say. He just throws out a we and thinks everything's
and this is why they think Americans are obnoxious, because when someone's not understanding us, we talk louder and slower.
Oh my gosh.
And listen, they all take English in school.
Yeah.
Most of them do speak English and they pretend they don't. But if you go in and you try to speak it, then they'll respond to you in English.
They will.
So just don't be obnoxious about it.
And don't take that as like you are speaking to them in French and or any language and they respond to you in English. Like, of course they know you're an American.
Yes.
When you walk up, it's not offensive. They're just trying to be helpful, but they're not saying it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good to know. All right, so we have covered a lot. We've got my part, I would say, my questions, which of course is always going to sit around food. And then Lolo, Nina actually submitted a couple of questions as a prospective student. Okay. So let's kind of talk through those last few things. This has been honestly way more detailed discussion, so I really appreciate all that you have given to us.
Yep.
So I know we said the magical word paella earlier,
yes,
which is a magical word for us. We actually love paella, but it's such a rarity that, it's kind of like, ooh, but tell us about the food and how was it? And then there's going to be a couple of follow-up questions about the food, right?
Yes. The food was pretty much amazing everywhere I went. I made it a goal to get kind of like something super, depending on the country that I went to, like their main cultural dish.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would try to get. Even if it was like in Germany, they had like a bunch of sauerkraut type of stuff, and I don't like sauerkraut, but I ordered it like once or twice, and I was like, okay, I did the thing, and I just, I didn't like it, but it was fine. I just sucked it up, and I paid for it, and I ate it, and I
think that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely try to, I do have my limits. Like if it's just super
gross. Yep.
Or a texture thing, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
But that's good.
Overall, I had a really good experience pretty much with all of the food. I ate some of the best food. And actually, this is kind of really crazy and just super random what I thought of. London actually has such good food, not like their own cultures, but other people's cultures.
You're going to say Indian food, aren't you?
Indian food and Asian food. And
I always hear about Indian food in London. I've heard that for years.
Right.
The Indian food in London was so good. Like I said, in Spain was the first time I had Indian food, and then I went. My friend recommended it. He's like, I heard about this place like so much. Like we should go. Like I'll make us a reservation. I was like, okay, great. It's called Dishoom in London, and it was genuinely the best Indian food that I've ever had in my life. Some of the best food. We went 2 days in a row. We went for breakfast and dinner.
Breakfast and dinner. Okay, so hold on. For those going to London, go eat at
Dishoom.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
Thank you. I consider myself not very knowledgeable about Indian food, and I have a couple of very close Indian friends. It's honestly probably last year is the first time I've ever tried it. Oh, wow. And I was at my friend Swati's house, and I thought she was going to beat me up, so I kind of like just did it, but it was good. One of my bigger issues with Indian food is the spice.
Yeah.
And I can't handle spicy food. So it has to be 0 spice.
Yeah.
But yes,
I'm the same way.
I'd like to learn more about that.
Lauren, can you talk about the tapas and sangria?
Oh, tapas in Spain.
Tapas, it was like something I did probably once a week. I had to go out and get tapas, and what I would do, there was this amazing tapas spot that me and my friends had found, and then
Called?
I wish I could remember. I'm sorry.
You'll
I'm
have
sorry.
to check your travel journal.
I might have it in my travel journal, but it is at school, and so I'll flip through it and I'll let you guys know once I'm back at
So
school.
you might know one day.
But I have been searching for that tapas restaurant. Like I went through all of my photos to see if like it pinned a location so that I could try to find
I
it.
have photos.
You do have
because
photos.
we went
when we were with
I bet I have it in mind.
Oh, she might have the name. But it was the best tapas place in Valencia. It was so good, and they had just the best sangria. And then my mom and her best friend from college, her sorority sister, they came to visit me while I was in Spain, and took me and my friends out to this tapas place because I was talking about it. And so we ordered every single tapa on the menu. Every single one.
Everything.
And we inhaled it. We had a couple of pitchers of sangria, and we had a grand old time. And we took up it was a cute little place, and it wasn't much bigger than this room, honestly.
Yes,
right?
for the whole restaurant, right?
For the entire restaurant.
Wow.
And they had a couple of little circle tables, then we just put two together, and we took up half of the entire restaurant, me and my friends.
That sounds like a perfect time.
Yeah.
That would be something I think all of us would really love. So would you say that was maybe what you enjoyed the most? Does that stand out kind of from the whole trip abroad?
Yes, that was probably one of my favorite food. That not necessarily that place,
answer.
but the tapas. And then another food that I tried was when I was in France, actually. What is it called? The beef
Bourguignon.
Yes, the beef bourguignon.
Good job.
I watch cooking shows.
So good. It was the best thing that I've probably had in my entire life. And I went to one that a restaurant that won an award for theirs.
James Beard Award.
Yes. Look at you,
Michelin
Joyce.
Damn, you're just throwing everything out. I'm sitting here
I think it might have been a Michelin star restaurant. I don't remember, and it was really expensive, but I was I need to try it, and I want good beef bourguignon or however you say it. Sorry, I just butchered that. But it was one of the best meals that I had when I was there, and it's a warm cooked meal, and it's it comes in this
It's stew.
It's like stew. But you still have to cut the meat because it's still a little bit tougher than you could just pull it apart and stew.
tough meat.
But no, not tough in a good way. It's not. No, yeah. Trust me.
What she means by that, it wasn't falling apart.
It's not falling apart
Right,
off the bone.
yeah.
It's you
It's
still have to
still
cut
cuttable.
it. It's like a steak.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tender, but you still have to cut
I'm
it.
Yes.
thinking of the not properly cooked
No.
pot roast.
No, not at all.
Okay,
It's
okay, good.
delicious. And it was so
Okay.
good, and it was kind of rainy and cold out, and it was just the best meal ever. And then with a glass of red wine, it was just an awesome meal. And then our waiter was super cool too. He was just a classic French dude, and it was awesome.
Classic French dude. I don't know. All of this has just sounded like such a great experience. Gosh, Joy, Lynn.
Making me want sangria.
It makes me want to step back in time and do something or
Right.
think about something different. But the thing is, yes, you can't go back in time. However, you can make plans for the future at a future time. And I think one of the bigger things that I would just kind of say before jumping into my niece Nina's questions is, get out there and do the things. I know Joy and I like to throw all the little tags out there, inspiring you to travel or whatnot. But, honestly, travel just does something to enrich yourself as a person. It broadens your horizons. It introduces you to other trains of thought, not only cultures and foods, but I think it just, to me, and I'm sure all of y'all would agree, I think it makes you a better person.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
Changes you in a good way.
Absolutely.
Right. There's really nothing. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not that there haven't been horror stories, right? You do hear horror stories about things that happen. You do have to be safe and you have to make wise choices. Don't stand on the edge of cliffs and don't do, crazy
Take
things.
selfies.
Right? There's common sense things, but, outside of even an accident or two, or sometimes people can have the terrible fortune to be food poisoned. There's just nothing.
She's really going down.
I'm going down the thing, but what I'm saying is because I'm thinking in my mind, there's always a devil's advocate, right?
But here's the thing,
Travel
Mo.
is amazing.
Here's the thing. Stuff will happen. It doesn't matter what trip you take or when.
Exactly.
Things can happen, right? The trick
right.
is don't let it ruin your time.
Yes.
Be
Correct.
flexible. Be prepared to pivot.
Yes.
Don't let one bad experience ruin the entire trip for you.
100%.
Or sour you against where you are or what you're doing. Right. So flexibility, keep your attitude in check, and keep things in perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to pivot, right?
Yep.
And you can do some crazy things, but be safe when you do crazy things. Because I did crazy things when I was there, and I am so glad that I did. Not unsafe crazy things, but like crazy things that like I would never do in a normal situation.
Like calling your mom and telling her that you're in Africa, and mom didn't know you were going there. That was crazy.
That was crazy, but I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all.
I didn't hear you say Africa.
Morocco's in Africa.
Sorry. I'm
Joy,
being
can you
very-
plug in a map here?
No. I'm being very literal for the moment. I was like, hold on. Okay. All right. Let's wrap up. We had 4 questions submitted.
Perfect.
And the first question she gave was, what do you wish you had packed that no one told you to bring?
Sweatpants, like comfy clothes. I said that earlier. Like I wish I brought more of that, but don't overpack, like not too much, because then you're gonna have to buy a million suitcases like I did. But definitely more comfy clothes and just like a pair of PJs. Extra like hair shampoo, or like if you use specific products, like bring extra of that, because there were times that I was just like looking for something that I use here in the US and they don't make it over there, and I was like crying and like not actually crying, but I'm like calling my mom and I'm like, when you come you have to bring this. What I did, I called her and I made her bring me peanut butter. I missed peanut butter so much because it's just like some of my favorite things. I eat it every single day. Like it's
so
good
funny.
protein. Like I just am obsessed with peanut butter for some reason. And so I was like, you need to bring me like multiple jars of just peanut butter
Yeah, for the apartment.
for the apartment. It was all for me. I hid it.
Nina, I know that you're packing your sweatpants, but that's really good feedback. And I don't think you eat peanut butter, but I would say whatever your favorite food is, make sure you have a little bit of that.
Well, let me say the converse of that too. The converse of that is if you can't find your favorite product or whatever, it's always an adventure to go into the store to figure out what products they do have and try something new.
Amen. We did that. We went to, I think, a grocery store in every town in Ireland. And we would just walk the aisles. I felt like the biggest nerd, but we found some really cool stuff.
That's right.
You will find cool things, but there are just some things that I just couldn't give up.
Right.
And I was like,
That you miss from
I
home.
need my hair oil because it just isn't the same. And my peanut butter.
So question number 2 is, how did you budget for weekend travel and daily life? So Nina, I think we covered that in pretty good detail earlier. But I heard spreadsheets and I heard using Google and train schedules in order to basically plan around what were the best deals for the week. Is there anything else you'd like to add specifically to that?
AI and chat GPT are your best friends. Honestly, I found them super useful because even if you don't want to do the whole spreadsheet thing and be a nerd like I was, you could just kind of plug in your budget and be like, make my own budget for me instead of you having to do it yourself, which probably would have taken way less time than what I did to like make this whole spreadsheet. But I just did it to hold myself more accountable. So that's why I made mine. But definitely if you just plug your info into chat, like it can pretty much make your entire budget for you, and that's super helpful.
And the other thing with AI is using it to plan your travel.
Yes.
So for example, I'm going to Budapest. What are the top?
Oh, I thought you were like, oh, I'm going to Budapest. I was like,
She's like,
That's
wait a
what I
minute.
thought, too.
I don't know about that.
No, I'm talking about plugging it into AI.
Right.
I'm going to Budapest. What are the top 5 things that I must do while I'm there?
Yeah.
And ChatGPT, Copilot, whatever.
Claude,
Claude, yeah, they're all really good about giving you feedback of what you should do and creating an itinerary.
yes, and make sure you put in follow-up questions too about, like, it might spit out a bunch of information, and if you're kind of interested in one part that you really want to do, like I was interested in the catacombs when I went to Paris, and so I plugged in like more questions that I had, or like a better prompt to get more specific of like what exactly I should do to like see the catacombs in Paris.
Okay, awesome. Question number 3 did you feel academically prepared, or was there an adjustment to another country's school system? So again, we covered a lot of that earlier in the conversation. And so I think the first thing would be, is Nina taking harder courses than what you are? I think she's going to actually be right around the same age by the time she goes that, that you were. So I think it really depends on that, right?
Yeah, so it'll depend on that. And also, what school does Nina go to?
Her study abroad program actually links with Florida State's.
Okay, perfect.
Her school does.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So
Then
we'll have those instructors.
yeah. Oh, that's really cool. I forgot that was like totally a thing.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Like, it's just like the classes won't be too difficult. I feel like you'll definitely be prepared. They're professors that are Florida State professors. It's not really a different curriculum. It's all the same as the U.S. Everything is the same.
Let me jump in there because that's a major difference between our experiences. All of Lauren's classes were in English and were part of the Florida State curriculum.
Okay.
All of my classes were in French.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's pretty wild.
Yes, all of them were in French. We went to a special school in the city of Tours and had French professors. And yes, they were part of our curriculum at my university as well. But it was just like being on the campus of my university.
Yeah.
Right? And it was a different form of cultural immersion because the classes were in French. The teachers were French professors. Not necessarily a French language professor, but maybe a French sociology professor or something like that. So that was a major difference in our experiences.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would learn the language even that much better, which might be why I feel that you're still as good as you are. Because still, I mean, if you don't use it, you lose it 100%. True. All right, last question. How did you make, thank you, drum roll. How did you make friends abroad? And she actually kind of classified locals, other international students, and fellow Americans.
Drink with them.
Join
Yes.
Nina.
Yes.
I'm sure Nina does not need any encouragement in that area.
Tracy, don't worry. Tracy is Nina's mom.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a great icebreaker. I can't lie. You're in class with some of these kids, and you're just kind of like, oh, what do you want to do? Like, what do we? It's not like, hey, do you guys want to go play later? It's like, do you guys want to go play outside? No, it's do you want to like go grab a drink after class, and then you get to know these kids over something super casual, just like a beer or something.
And think about your experience, even that you described at the airport.
Yeah,
You literally walk up
walk up to
because homeboy has his shirt that he's on the study abroad
Yep.
trip,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
and I'm just a super social person anyways, and I will talk to as many people as possible all of the time.
Helps to be an extrovert.
Yes, I'm very extroverted, and I make friends probably very easily every day of my life, just because I don't get embarrassed very easily. And this is like another thing that you should, like, just don't get embarrassed. You're gonna walk up to people and they're not gonna like you, and you're gonna be like, well, at least me, I'm a little too much sometimes for some people. So then I'm just like, okay, well, and then I walk away and I try again with someone else. And then that's just kind of how I made friends when I was there. When you're in all these classes together and you're living with all of these people, you're going to make friends with your roommates. That's just like how it is at the end of the day, because you're going to be going out with each other. You're in the same classes. You're with each other pretty much 24/7. And then with the locals, I, again, would just...
Alex.
Yes, Alex.
Exactly.
At the coffee shop,
yes, at the empanada shop.
Empanadas,
Yes.
sorry, my bad.
No, it's okay. I would just see him almost every day, and I would just start talking to him, and he would speak to me in English mostly. And, I would just talk to people at whatever place I was at, whether it's a restaurant or a bar. And like I said, the floods that happened, I met this one guy. I was actually at an Irish pub in Valencia, Spain, for all places. And it was really interesting. But I was sitting there and I was kind of speaking with my roommate, and then I'm speaking in Spanish with the bartender, just about ordering drinks and just like kind of like what's been going on. And then the guy next to me just like started talking to me, and he was explaining to me that he was in the flood. And I just kind of started conversating with him. So it's just honestly being open to all kinds of conversations with anybody, especially unless they're like creepy and sketchy and weird. But like usually you kind of can tell when they're bad people and that you're like, okay, I gotta go. But no, like this guy, he ended up being super nice, and he told me his whole story in Spanglish and about how he was asleep during the floods and how he's lucky that he had a multi-story apartment or house, and so his bottom 2 floors were flooded and he was sleeping on the top 3rd floor, and how lucky he was, and how his car was washed away, and that like he looked at his AirTag. His Google AirTag is another thing that you must have a million Apple AirTags.
Good advice.
Put them everywhere,
luggage,
and your luggage, in your purse, and your wallet, on your person, on your keys. Put them on everything. That's what I did. I didn't lose a single thing when I was there. Please put one on your passport.
Lauren also had a passport cover, and putting one in your passport cover is also a really great idea.
How about that?
So
Fantastic.
I never thought of that.
I didn't lose a single thing when I was there, not one.
I think that's pretty impressive, because it sees like my son loses something almost every damn day.
Don't get me wrong. I most recently lost my car keys.
Oh, that's a weekly occurrence.
Well, they're yet to be found. I had a spare key. The other ones are gone. Yeah, she's really mad at me. She's really mad. But I put an AirTag on my new car keys, so there we go.
But the one thing I want to add too, Joy, you brought up a really good point, because when you're an introvert, those types of social situations are very overwhelming. So if you are an introvert, I would say pair yourself up. Yes.
Make friends with an extrovert.
Really. Make friends with an extrovert.
Yeah.
Right? Because
It's great advice.
yes,
Yeah.
because you'll have way more fun and probably do things that you would never do on your own.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this as a true introvert at heart, right? I'm a forced extrovert, but really I'm at heart an introvert. And so pair yourself with someone who has a flair for adventure, and don't be afraid to practice your language skills.
My friend that I met during study abroad, she is very, very introverted and shy. And and she had a boyfriend the whole time, so she never really like did the whole going out scene and stuff. And I know, I was so mad at her, but like I love her so much, and she's just amazing. And I convinced her to go to Barcelona with me, and I convinced her to go out, and I like helped her with this interview, and I helped her do this interview, and I like taught her just exactly what to say pretty much. And we ended up going out, and we did all of the things, and she came up to me the next week and was like, Lauren, that was the best trip that I had on all of my study abroad. Yeah. And she was like, it would not have been the same if you weren't there, because you made me do something to get me out of my shell. Yep. And she's like, and I have never had more fun in my life. And I was like, see what you're missing out on? Just like come hang out with me. Like I want you around all the time.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So just things like that. Do all the things. Do everything.
Do all the things.
Ladies, thank you so much. This was unexpected and fun, and I've learned so much, and like I want to get the backpack and the AirTags and all the things.
Let's go.
Practice all the stuff that I've learned. So thank you sincerely, both of you, for your time today and all the great information that you guys gave.
Yeah, I'm really excited for honestly being able to target the students.
Yeah.
The parents, talk about all the travel, all of your insights. Honestly, I really had no idea this was going to be so much, and I think that it could be I think it could be a really useful tool. I know that my sister-in-law is already waiting to listen to this, and so
this is all for you, Tracy.
Yeah. Can we leave on a note for Nina?
Yeah.
And really, Nina, have a blast. Like Lauren said, do all the things. Have Auntie Mo give you a travel journal so you can keep track of all of the things that you do.
And $1,000.
And $1,000. That would be fantastic.
Whoa. Hey, what?
Do it, right? And I don't know if you use Instagram or social media, but if you don't, I would highly recommend that you Instagram your travels, if for no one else, then for Tracy and Sarv.
Yep.
Because
she has. Okay. They do not have.
Oh, well, Tracy, you're going to have to download Instagram just for the period and only friend Nina, but you're going to want to watch her adventures in real time. Yeah.
But Lolo, you are getting super close to graduation.
Yes.
Congratulations. I know that you have had a wonderful time at Florida State. We definitely, Joy and I, wish you the best in your final chapter of your studies. And I know there are big things coming for you. So cheers.
Thank you. Thanks for having me too. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. I love talking about this stuff.
Awesome. Well, until next time.
Yep.
We'll see ya.
Hit the road, Mo and Joy. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Hit the Road with Mo and Joy. If you have questions or topic suggestions, we would love to hear from you. You can connect with us through our website at hittheroadwithmoandjoy.com. On the website, you'll find all the things: socials, blogs, recommendations, inspiration, and things you might need to know for upcoming travel. And if you'd like to partner or advertise with us and connect with our amazing audience across the country, feel free to reach out to us at hittheroadwithmoandjoy.com/media. That's it from us this week, but don't forget, get out there and explore.